What's bugging you could be bugging your crops. Hi, Jonah Johnson, PCT Sunrise. Welcome back to our PCT Short. So what's bugging our crops right now? Things to look for in your summer insect scouting. So as you're out there looking your fields here in mid-July, and we get into August here very shortly, some insects to consider. So when you're thinking about those July insects, we're talking about the soybean defoliator. So insects like certain caterpillars, Japanese beetles, and others, just to name a few. And we're talking about insects are going to start chewing away leaf matter and potentially warrant a potential insect application. Now, before you go out and pull that trigger, know that new thresholds have been updated that reflect modern day crop values and input costs. And so as you see on your screen, you'll see that some important numbers that we need to hit here briefly. So when you're looking at walking your beans in these late vegetative stages, and for southern Ohio when you're into the reproductive stages, beans are really resilient and they can take up to 30% leaf tissue defoliation before an insecticide is warranted. Now, one thing I want to caution you those on as you look, once you get into that reproductive phase, so R3, and we have those 1/4 inch pods starting to form and into late pod fill, that threshold drops down to 10%. So that's something we really got to keep an eyeball on, because these insects at those critical time periods can cause a lot of issues. So another call out in July is the western bean cutworm. So if you're walking your corn, you have susceptible hybrids, especially in northwest Ohio where that's been a problem, be on the lookout for that pest. And eggs as you're walking cornfields. But other insects I want to keep in mind here is that stink bugs. So stink bugs have become a major problem for us. And when you're walking your fields, make sure you're looking for stink bug feeding out there, especially when we get in the reproductive phases, because that insect with that straw mouth-like part can pierce those developing pods and cause a lot of seed injury. So brown marmorated stink bug, green stink bug, and others. So be on the lookout for those. Bean leaf beetle, that's another big one, especially once we get into the reproductive phase, we gotta be watching for, because they feed on pods, tear down the pod walls, vector and diseases, and also can create seed quality issues as well. So be on the lookout for that type of feeding. The last one I want to leave you with is what the dry periods that a lot of us have had here in Ohio. Starting to see some corn rolling up and in desperation needing for a shower are spider mites in soybeans. So be on the lookout for those. Remember, have a white sheet of paper you can shake over the paper when you're pounding soybean plants over them. And if you start to see little movements on your paper, and you see stress across the field along the edges, moving in, coming out of the grass along roads, for example, that can be very indicative of spider mite damage. So remember, synthetic pyrethroids aren't the best for those. Products like organophosphates and others like bifenthrin and products containing that will be better for, and labeled as miticides, will be much better at suppressing the spider mite damage. And hope we get a rain and it'll suppress those insects as well. So for more, follow us on X and PCTnutrients.com. I'm Jonah Johnson. Thanks for watching.